Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be talking about the shared bonus that just came out. I was going to earlier, then I got covered in some stuff, and yeah. Anyways, I'm here now to bring you the shared bonus, so it is all good. Okay, for this shared bonus, it's going to be 100% metal orientated. Besides like these rewards right here, that are here to stay, I think, forever. But anyways, for the good and the bad prizes, all of the good prizes will contain metals, so keep that in mind. 100% metal orientated. What can you use those metals for? You can use those metals for Nicaris, Alexander, Patty Mosary, Serpent, Jupiter, or any of the gear down here, which is not a bad choice, but except for Patty Marie. If you don't know about Patty Marie yet, Patty Marie can be attained in a step-up spot, and a step-up spot is a lot more worth it than this spot right here, because this spot's a lot more pay to win than the step-up spots. So step-up spots you want to wait for, or if you want Patty Marie, I do not recommend touching this at all if you're only after Patty Marie. But anyways, going off of that, I don't think anybody's going to be just after Patty Marie, but I'm going to just cover that just in case if you're even thinking about the monster at all. Go for Alexander though. Alexander doesn't really pop up in step-up spots, so definitely Alexander is what you want to go after, especially for his hero buff. Okay, with that being said, you don't know much about Nicaris. Nicaris is an ideal monster for S-rank guild battles. Because in S-rank guild battles, a lot of people are going to be using this monster called Kyrat. I could show you right here. If I have it equipped. Yes, yes I do. Kyrat right here. Increases the UC gauge, increases the UC gauge by 20, decreases their UC gauge by 20, this reduces their stats, increases physical and magical ability power received, and she hits really freaking hard, really hard. Like if you're doing A rank or less, she hits so freaking hard that it has a really high chance of just like that monster alone could probably kill the enemy. That's how hard she hits. As for S rank, it doesn't really kill them. You're almost never gonna get a kill in S rank because they're so freaking high up there that it doesn't really even touch them. But as for like A ranks and lower, for the most part, you're gonna be able to kill them with just Kyrat a lot. So Nicaris stops Kyrat because a lot of people use Kyrat in S rank. On top of that, she casts Carvo, so if they have buffs, they automatically flip to debuffs. Stuns enemies for 6 by 80. Stun will allow, if you pop a move, stun will replace that move instead. So when you're trying to use a move, if you're stunned, you're not going to be able to use that move. That's it. That's all stun does. It pretty much makes your next move unusable. And cast Awakening on yourself as well. And on top of that, she has a 50% damage reduction barrier, so that is very good as well. Very useful monster for Kyrat, and she has good abilities to back her up as well. If you're after this monster, keep in mind the monsters will be the pay to win part of this shared bonus. Just because it's a shared bonus doesn't guarantee that it's going to be easy, nice to obtain, and definitely worth your time spending your gems on. That is not the case, especially for this one, considering that you have only 5k as a main jackpot reward. You're going to have to probably get either 5k twice and then 5k once, 2k once, or 2k 4 times, 2k not 4 times, 2k 2 times, and then the 750 2 times as well. You get where I'm getting at. You're gonna have to get a lot of these featured prizes. Pretty much you want to go for the second or first one a lot. Getting like the first or second one on your first try, first time doing this, is not going to be too much of a challenge, but getting them continuously is going to be a little harder. And sure, the first time you do this, it's going to be 45 gems, but after this, it's going to be 90 gems, and then you're going to roll 90 gems, and 90 gems, and 90 gems, and 90 gems after that. But if you're after Nicaris, and you know what you're doing for the shared bonus, this is definitely worth your time and your gem spending on. And if you know what you're doing for the shared bonus, if you don't know what you're doing for the shared bonus, you might spend 2 to 10 times more gems than you would in a treasure spawn. But if you know what you're doing, you might be able to save 2 to 10 times more gems than you do in a treasure spawn as well. So if you know what you're doing for the shared bonus, if you're after this monster right here, if you're after her, let me rephrase it just in case Alexander switched and you thought I was talking about Alexander. If you're after her, then this is definitely going to be worth your time. But keeping in mind, it's going to be more pay to win than free to play, because you're going to have to hit a lot of jackpots and all that stuff. As for the gear is going to be more of a free to play friendlier item to obtain, because all you got to do is hit the sub feature prize once, and then you're able to obtain a piece of this gear. So that is very good as well. So if you're interested in new gear, if you need new specific gear, if you're after this stuff specifically, then that is good. If you're just looking for more gear score, if you're not after any of this stuff specifically, do not worry about the spawn. Do not touch the spawn. Don't worry about the spawn like at all. Don't care for it, nothing. Just save up your gems for another spawn. The reason I'm saying that is because they offer pretty much 32 cost to 33 cost stuff in here. Some of the stuff does have good skills. For example, this gun, chance to greatly increase physical and magical damage when using ability. Only for the attack that activates the skill, the defensive magic defense of the target will be reduced by half. So that is very OP and very strong as well. And for this one, chance to greatly increase the amount of HP healed when using ability. Heals target with 5% of their maximum HP every 5 seconds for 10 seconds. This casts a continuous heal, so that's very good. And then right here are some the extra class weapons, so that is very good as well. I mainly would only go after the Berserker ones though for the Staff and the Relic, because they will help with DPS, and Berserker is a DPS class. As for the others, increases the ability power, protection, and phase with balance of life. I mean, sure, that could be useful, but Rooks are not really designed for that type of thing. Rooks are more designed for actually guild battles than anything, really. So, Rooks aren't really you're not really worried about the attack. Actually, you're going for more of defense than anything. Rooks are more of tanks than actually attackers, so it's not really worrisome for those. And then the Rat Dragon stuff has one of the best defense skills in the game, damage down XL. It goes up to when you reforge it to UR. Chance to greatly reduce physical and magical damage taken. Now, as for myself, would I waste 45 gems to have a decent chance of obtaining this gear? Maybe. I do really want to work on my Berserker, and getting either that Relic or Staff will help me with my Berserker a lot more. So I might not. As for right now, I'm not going to, because I'm actually going to try to focus on the monster spawn. But if I had the time, if I had the gems, and I wouldn't mind, then maybe I would. I'm not sure, but I might. Also, for the system and for the thing that you want to do, for the strategy you want to implement for the shared bonus spawn, you want to look for your lucky number. There is a number right here that says left. This is shared across a lot of people in the server, so you're not the only one doing this. So when you see the number down, somebody else has spawned it. What I like to do is I like to wait till the number hits to 200. After it hits 200 and lower, I look at the prizes. If the prizes are not a lot, like if there's only one jackpot and then there's 0 of everything else, like if there's 0 of the sub one and then there's only 1 of the jackpot and it's lower than 200, I'm not even going to look at the spawn. I'm going to wait until it resets. So make sure you have a lot of the feature prizes left, or a decent amount, even after it hits below 200. Because if you don't have a decent amount of the feature prizes left after it hits lower than 200, it's not even worth your time. As for a good amount of feature prizes when it hits below the 200, I mean, it starts off at 2,000. So if you have 1 of the jackpot right here and like 2 of the sub feature prizes, that would be considered good as a lower than 200 spawn for the lower than 200. The time for that is lower to 200 for the shared bonus. Excuse me. As well, so make sure that you have, even if it hits lower than 200, make sure you have a decent amount of featured prizes left after it hits lower than 200, or you're probably not going to get anything. Just keep that in mind. Once it hits lower than 200, I like to use my lucky number. My lucky number is something that I've used before in free box spawns. There's none right now, but they have like box spawns, say for example this, that have 500 or less. 500 or more. Usually it only goes up to 500 though. Featured prizes in there, and then for like one of the featured prizes, it'll be just a summoning scroll, like one of the summoning scroll, and once you get that one of the summoning scroll, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I like to test my numbers, see what I get the most, see where I get around the most, and after figuring out for a while, mine is 170. So 170 is where I usually get a good prize or a featured prize. So that's where I like to spawn at. I like to spawn at the number 170. If you know your lucky number, spawn at your lucky number. If you don't know your lucky number, somewhere between 200 or less, wait, and hopefully they'll have a lot of featured prizes. If they have a lot of featured prizes after you hit lower than 200, then it's gonna be worth it. But if they don't, then I won't touch this. Even if you don't have your lucky number, I won't recommend, if you don't have your lucky number, not to touch this. But I'm not gonna say it's gonna be set in stone and you're not gonna get what you're looking for guaranteed if you don't have a lucky number yet, or you don't know your lucky number. Also, another thing I like to do when it comes to the shared bonus is I like to spawn as much as possible, because when the first time you spawn during that, let's say, couple hours, that's the first time and second time you spawn is going to be where your rates will shine the most. Your rates will shine the most in that probably the hour that you spawn the first and second time. Afterwards, they'll just get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, eventually spawn after spawn. So I like to spawn as much as I can once, so that way I can have a lot higher of rates when I'm actually going for the featured prizes, and it usually works out to my advantage. I'm usually actually only getting the second feature prize on my first try. Usually, it's not going to always happen, it's not guaranteed to happen, but implementing all this stuff that I just talked about will help you a lot with your rates. With that being said, I hope this helped out, and I will see you in the next video. This is the AzureWrath. I'm out. Peace.